Hello, welcome to the Boss Body Podcast. This is Sarah Haas. I am so glad that you're here with me. Today, I'm going to do things a little bit differently. Instead of delivering the podcast as usual, I am going to share with you an interview where I was actually the interviewee instead of the interviewer. And the interview was with Linday Joy, who is a mentor and friend. And I participated in a summit that she conducted called Elevate, which was all for women. It was all about health, wellness, body, mind, spirit, mindset, and up-leveling your life. And I was so honored to be a featured speaker in the summit. And the subject that we discussed, I know, is something that a lot of you are going to want to hear because I gave 3 simple strategies you can use to rev up your midlife metabolism. So many of us are dealing with this. I am right there with you. I turned 51 this year, and we're dealing with hormones. We're dealing with losing muscle mass, with our metabolism changing, and some of us don't like some of some of the things that we are experiencing. So I'm going to share with you 3 strategies that you can start implementing immediately that are going to speed up your metabolism, get it up and running again, and just improve your overall health. So here is that interview now.
Sarah, I am so excited to have you here with me today.
I am so excited to be here, Linda. Thank you so much for having me.
You know, it's such a powerful topic because whether we want it or not, I notice my body and everything's starting to change at 40 years old, and I'm 60 now. What I also discovered is I was creating a lot of the chaos that was going on in my body because I didn't have the right resources and tools and expert guidance. I was listening to everything out there, trying this, trying that, and my metabolism slowed down quite a bit. And I know you hear that from your clients all the time, from the women in your community.
I do, and I am right there with you guys. I'm in my 50s. I've had 2 kids. And yeah, believe me, my clients, women all the time, talking to me about what can I do? My metabolism is slowing down. I can't get away with things that I used to be able to get away with. And I loved it how one woman put it once. She said, I'm dealing with the shifting sands of time.
I, I love that. And it's so true, though. That's what it feels like.
Yeah, it is. And it can be frustrating. And that's why I want to make it simple for people and give you the tools that you need because it's not inevitable, right? We don't have to go into midlife and beyond not feeling confident, not feeling good in our bodies, not taking care of our health, or even knowing how to take care of our health. And that's why I have such a passion for working with women in midlife because I know how it is. I'm right there with you. Dealing with a woman's body and all those changes, losing your strength and your muscle mass, and maybe not being able to be as active as you want to be. And then there's all those wonderful hormonal changes that that we go through in midlife as well.
One of the things, too, because I've been following your work and we have connected, I love everything you bring to your audience. And one of the reasons I really started following you and enjoy working with you and playing and collaborating is the simplicity. You bring it down into, and I've told you this so many times already, you bring it down into strategies that are not just like, hey, try this. They are so simple and easy to implement. That's what's made the difference for me. And following your work and everything you did, like when you did the 5-day break up with sugar challenge, I was like, what? Right? Because as you know, it's something I have struggled with. I've come a long way, but I saw the response of the hundreds of women that joined that, and I said, oh, I'm not alone. I'm not alone in the struggle with sugar and my metabolism slowing down. So I just really wanted to share that because you simplify it in a way that makes it doable, makes us want to take action, because you present it and it's like, I can do that, instead of another thing on a woman's to-do list, which none of us want. So I just wanted to say that, because I know today you're going to be sharing 3 strategies to rev up our midlife metabolism. And I want everyone, if you don't have a piece of paper now, grab it or watch the replay and make sure you take notes, because you're in for some juiciness. And I got to tell you from personal experience, it all works. It works. So Sarah, why don't we start there? What is the first strategy you want to talk about?
Yeah. So before I give that strategy, I just wanted to explain exactly what I mean by revving up your metabolism. Metabolism simply means the rate at which your body burns calories, and that slows down over time. And so I'm happy, you'll see kids easily burning their calories. They can eat whatever they want, but they're so active all day and their body just burns it right off. I have a teenage son. He can pretty much eat pizza, whatever he wants. And then he goes to track and he runs and he does band, marching band, and all these things. But as women, we don't have that quite that same benefit. And that's why we want to get it revved up. So the first tip is something that you hit on just a second ago, and that is we've got to break up with sugar. And this is this strikes a chord with so many women because the struggle is real. Sugar is everywhere. The food industry has added it to everything because they know it's addictive, and it is addictive, and it makes you want to come back and come back and come back to it. And we've got to have simple strategies to get rid of those cravings, because that's going to be the biggest sabotage of our metabolism. Because if you eat sugar, that is the easiest, quickest source of energy. So your body is just going to gobble that right up and not go to fat burning mode. And the other thing is sugar. We've all heard of blood sugar, and that just means that it's spiking your insulin. And insulin's the fat storage hormone. So the more sugar we have, the more insulin we have, the more fat storage we have. And unfortunately, usually it gets stored right around our middle. So you know how you've heard that term, midlife middle. And so breaking up with sugar has to be the first step. And I have a couple of really simple ways to get started with that. And the first thing is just eat more protein. It seems so simple, but so many of us don't get enough protein. And if you wake up in the morning and you go straight for just a donut or a piece of toast or, with jam on it or some kind of pastry, you're immediately going to set off cravings for the rest of the day because it digests so quickly and there's nothing to keep you feeling full. And then you're just going to keep going back to it. So if you start out with some good protein, some eggs, some Greek yogurt, something like that, it's going to make all the difference. It sets you up for success throughout the rest of the day. Because if you feel full, if you feel satisfied, it's going to crowd out the cravings for the not so healthy stuff.
And I love that, because for me, my tendency was to skip breakfast, get up at 5 a.m., have coffee, and not have anything till 11 or 12, which was usually protein. But I'm hearing by me doing that, my body is holding on to fat because I'm not giving it anything to help burn off the fat. It's almost like it's storing and holding on for dear life. Is that happen when I'm skipping and not eating for 5-6 hours?
Oh yeah, if you skip a meal, you're going to get overly hungry, right? You feel your energy go down and you're just like starving. And your brain is so smart. Our bodies are so intelligent. Your brain has to have that glucose to function. And so it is going to drive you to grab the simplest source of energy that's quickly digestible digesting. And that's why you'll notice if you skip a meal, like if you don't eat lunch, and then by the time you get home and you're trying to fix some dinner and you see those crackers in the cabinet or, the chocolates or whatever, we're just going to plow right into those sugary, simple carb type foods because your brain is on high alert. Like, I need food, get me something quick. So you're not craving protein at that point. And so kind of keeping your body in balance all day means feeding it regularly, having regular meals. It really calms your system because your body knows when the next meal's coming. It's not in that feast and famine type mode, and it's going to make those sugar cravings go down, like I said, because you're full, you're satisfied, your body's calm, your brain's getting what it needs, and you're going to have so much less cravings to eat that sugar all day long.
I notice it for myself too. I like to keep, because some days I have busy days with calls. I love to keep a rotisserie chicken in, and it may not be a full meal, but when I'm starting to feel ungrounded, it's like, oh, Lynn, it's been a few hours. I go cut off like 3 ounces and I nibble it as a snack. I might not have any veggies with it. It's my snack. And I got to say, when I do that, I can feel myself coming back into my body. I can't explain that in the right words, but I feel more grounded. I feel more present than me just going, let's go get another cup of coffee, which I had a tendency for decades to do. So I feel a difference compared to when I'll even do that for breakfast sometimes, because it's just easy to do and it's available. But I can feel the difference, like when Dana brings home his favorite banana bread and I start my day with that, even though he's like, but baby, there's fruit in it. I go, no, babe, there's sugar in this too. But I have it, I feel the difference in my body. And that's what you're speaking about. It's like I crash so fast after that compared to when I have the chicken. So I love that because, so you're saying eat protein with snacks also. So you're always giving yourself protein throughout the day, not just at the 3 meals a day okay.
And
That's a
some of us are so busy that we may not have time to sit down and fix a full meal. So I love that you have that strategy of just keeping something quick, that's a good source of protein, because that can go a long way to. And what you said about, you feel that crash. And when that crash comes, your brain is foggy. You're not fully present at your job or whatever you're doing because your brain is just not getting what it needs. And so feeding yourself at regular intervals not just helps you break up with sugar, but it helps you have a clearer mind, be more productive, be more creative, and be more present.
Yeah, I really notice a difference for myself. So you also talk about there's other ways to help battle the addiction with sugar.
There is another big one, and a lot of us have trouble with this, and that is to get plenty of sleep. Our bodies have to have that 7.5 to 8 hours every night, because if you don't, obviously the next day you're tired. And if you're in the middle of a workday, you don't have the option of taking a nap and giving yourself that rest that you need. So your body is going to look around and say, okay, what can I get for energy? And like I said before, sugar gives you that boost. It gives you that pep. And your body knows, like, okay, sugar gave it to me last time. So let's go back to that again. And the studies show that people who get 7.5 to 8 hours of sleep at night eat 300 calories a day less than those who don't get enough sleep.
No, that's science there, ladies. That's science. For myself, Dana and I are really disciplined. We're in bed, depending if we're watching one of our series that we're addicted to, but generally between 9 and 9:30. Like I think having a set bedtime every evening. I might not get the 7 hours. I'm an early riser. Sometimes I'm up at 4:30 or 5 or 5:30. But what I notice is going to bed at the same time. It's like I'm programming my body that this is time for rest. That has made a big difference. And I'm someone that 25 years ago, I had the opposite body clock and it'd stay up to 1, 2, 3 in the morning. So is it the cycles too, and having a pattern for your sleep that really helps us?
Yeah, and it's almost like eating those regular meals. You need regular sleep. Your body needs some consistency. And I don't mean you have to be regimented and super strict and do, exactly the same thing at the exact same time every day. But your whole system, you get enough flow. You get in a cycle. And another important thing is when you sleep is when your hormones balance out. That's when your insulin goes to a fasting state and levels out, your blood glucose levels out. It's when all of your hormones, it cleanses, your brain actually detoxes out, and then your body, your liver detoxes, gets rid of the hormone parts of the hormone that you don't need, which I don't want to go into the whole depth of that. But anyway, just sleeping is when your body resets itself. So if you aren't getting enough sleep, it's not just going to be sugar cravings. There's going to be a whole lot of things going on the next day that you don't want. And so sleeping, I like to say it all starts with a good night's sleep.
It does for us, for both of us, actually. We need that to feel optimal. Do we stay up late sometimes to watch series? Yes, but we can always feel it the next day, and it's like, it's not worth feeling that way. We know, put it this way, we found out what works for our bodies. And thankfully our clocks are synced. I know sometimes couples clocks aren't synced, it works. So thank you. I think I love all these strategy sharing and tips. I know just from our work together, and you write for Aspire magazine, so I love reading your content. I'm like, oh yes, another strategy. So what's number 2?
So number two, and this one's intimidating to a lot of people, but as we age, we lose muscle mass. Unfortunately, we lose about 5% per decade after age 30. So it is going to start, I hate to say the word withering away, but it's one of those things where if you don't use it, you lose it. So it doesn't have to be the case that you're going to lose that much muscle. But if you want to keep it, you have to do some strength training. Sometimes that's called resistance training. Sometimes you'll hear it called weightlifting. It's all the same thing. It just means that you are challenging your muscles. And when you do that, your muscle, your body is just so smart. It's incredible, all the things that it does. But when you exercise, when you use something heavier than what you would be normally doing throughout your day from gravity, when you lift those weights, when you use those bands, whatever it is, you're actually tearing down your muscle fibers, which sounds like a bad thing, but it's actually a good thing because your body has to rebuild the muscle. And that's why your muscles grow when you exercise because you have gotten these little micro tears. That's why you get sore because it's got those little tears and it takes a couple of days, but your muscle rebuilds itself and it prepares for what's coming because it says, "Oh, we're not just sitting around all day anymore. We actually have to lift heavy things. We've got to be prepared for it for next time." And so when you are building muscle, the muscle needs calories to grow, which that's the awesome thing because the more muscle mass you have, the more calories you're burning all day long, even when you're at rest, even when you're sleeping, because the muscles are repairing themselves. And not just when they're repairing, just when they're sitting there, they need calories. That's why this is so annoying to me that, if men get on some kind of health wellness program, they can drop, 10 pounds, it seems like immediately, and will work just as hard and maybe lose two. But that's because they just naturally have more muscle mass. It's just a fact. The testosterone gives them more muscles. And so we have to work at it a little harder. And when I say muscle mass, I'm not talking about looking like a bodybuilder, right? You would have to work out 2 and 3 hours or more a day at the gym. You would have to lift extremely heavy weights. You would have to be just going on this crazy diet. That's not what's going to happen. Muscle is what gives you that lean, toned, beautiful look that we all want, right? We want those beautiful arms for summer. We want to look good in shorts. And the more you're doing that, the more your metabolism is speeding up because you keep burning more calories.
What I noticed too is even aside from looking good, when we start building muscle, which I just started, since my surgeries, it helps with your posture and it helps with your back issues because I noticed from 2 abdominal surgeries that as everything got weak from me not doing any muscle work, that's the first thing I noticed was the posture changed. My girdle, my ab girdle changed. And I'm like, what a difference I'm noticing since I've been allowed to add weight training in. And I love that you said that you gave a description of weight training, because I was one of those 20 years ago. I was like, I'm not doing that because I thought it was going to make me look a certain way. And with you, I love that you teach. It's like, it could be fitness bands. You teach about getting it done in short amounts of time that you have, because a lot of women, as you know, we're busy women. And a lot of the biggest number one excuse is I don't have time for strength training. And I know you teach that you can get it done in 10 to 12 minutes a day, be fit. So let's talk about just for a second, that busy excuse that we all have that stops us from adding weight training or weight bearing exercise to our regimen.
We are busy. There's no doubt about it. Things don't slow down when you're in midlife, really, because, I have 2 teenagers. They keep me plenty busy. We're all working. We're taking care of our home. We have families, all these things. And a lot of times when we hear the words exercise or fitness or strength training, we're thinking, oh my goodness, that means I have to go and just like do all this like hours and hours of cardio and jumping jacks, or I have to, go join a gym and, learn all these machines and all this equipment. And it just is overwhelming, and it just causes us to go, okay, no, I don't. Or you plan on it and you kind of put it on your to-do list, but you don't really want to do it. So it just keeps getting bumped down lower and lower and lower. And then that's the one that's not going to get done. And then you're putting it off. And yes, I teach exercises that you can do in 6 to 12 minutes a day that are simple, that start with body weight. And then as you get stronger, you can increase and you can build muscle. And any little amount that you can add to your schedule can make a huge difference. And it really adds up over time. And people think you have to go all in, but you really don't. You can start adding these small things. And I did want to say another thing. There is a type of exercise called NEAT, NEAT, which stands for non-exercise activity thermogenesis. And this means all the things we do in a day that's not officially exercise. And you can add these in, we sit so much at our desks. You can add these in so easily. It's just things like parking further away from your office and walking. It's like taking the stairs instead of the elevator. It's getting up from your desk and stretching or walking around at intervals throughout the day. And I mean, these are little tiny 2 to 5 minute things. You can walk your dog when you get home instead of just letting it out. Ride your bike somewhere instead of driving. All these little things you can fit in. You can fit in the strength training, you can fit in the NEAT exercises, and you won't even notice it. It's not going to overload your already busy schedule.
I love that. And I have a tendency to park now at the grocery store. I go to the furthest one away instead of trying to get that first space right at the beginning. It's just been a challenge for the last couple of years. I challenge myself. It's like, no, let's do this. So
It's
as
funny
we're
because I see people at my gym circling around trying to find the close parking spaces.
so that they
I'm
can
like,
come
what
in
are
and
you doing?
exercise.
What are you doing? You're trying to get exercise. Why are you looking for the closest space?
I did that, and honestly, I was one of those for years. I did the same thing, and it's mindset shifts. And I know you work a lot with your clients with mindset. we're going to go to number 3 now, and then we'll start to wrap up because I know you have a juicy gift you're going to share. So what's number 3 for the revving up your metabolism tips?
Yeah, well, number 3 is really important because I see so many women starting and stopping, starting and stopping. And it's sort of that all or nothing black and white mentality. Either I'm going all in
Yeah.
or I'm not going to do it at all. And so we get all motivated, we get all fired up to start this program, and we're going to meal prep and we're going to cook at home all the time, and we're going to go to the gym every day and work out for an hour. And what happens is it becomes overwhelming, and you can get that paralysis by overwhelm, and that's what causes you to keep putting it off. Like, okay, I'll start Monday. This week's too busy. And the key is, don't try to do it all at once. Take it in small steps. That's how you make it stick. If you take on too much, you might do it for a little while, but then you're just so stressed out because you're trying to still do everything that you normally do in a day, plus all this stuff. And it's just too hard. It's just too overwhelming. You buy like a book, a diet book that says, do this, don't do that, eat this, don't eat that. And it's these long lists, and it's this huge, thick book. And you're thinking, okay, well, I have to do this complete overhaul of my life if I want to get healthy. But like I said, you can do these 12-minute exercises. You can just start taking little walks. You can focus on some protein. Start with some breakfast. These are small things that you can start building into your life, and they don't feel overwhelming. It feels pretty easy, right? And once you add one thing and you sort of get that as a regular habit, then you move on to the next thing. And then the next thing's not overwhelming. And your life and your schedule start to just fall into place around these things because you've set this goal for your life. This one small thing is going to happen every single day. It's easy to do. I'm going to do it. And it's amazing how it starts rippling out. And I always tell people, if you can make a 1% improvement in a week, that's 52% over a year. So imagine if in 1 year you are 52% healthier, more active, eating better, more energetic, more joyful, more vibrant. What would that look like, and how amazing would that feel? And that's changing 1% a week.
I'm going to tell you, this is one of I think my favorite tip, because that was me for years. All or nothing. I would fail, of course, every single time. Didn't matter what the protocol I was following. Beat myself up, find something else, try to go all in. It wasn't until I picked one thing. So once it was adding green drinks, which I now love. It took me the longest time, but I just said, you know what? You're just going to have a green drink a day. At least I'm adding nutrients to my body. It took a while, but it became a habit. Now it's ingrained in my life. But there was a time that it was a struggle, right? For me, after surgeries, I lost everything with muscles and all that after 2 surgeries. I remember saying, I'm not ready to get on the floor and do push-ups. I couldn't have got myself back up. So I started with 10 counter ones while I waited for my coffee every morning. And now I can do 40. And now I'm lower. I can go to lower items. But it's what you said. If I had said I am going to do 50 floor push-ups, it would never happen. But I started like, while you're waiting for your coffee, just do 10. Well, honestly, at first it was 5. But now I can do it all because I made that one little commitment. So I believe you shared so much wisdom here. This one, I think, is especially going to help so many women who are in the all or nothing mode. Take it from Linda. Take it from Sarah. It doesn't have to be hard. And this is coming from someone who always made it hard. And Sarah, that was powerful because I know from personal experience, that's the key. It's the key that really helped me start to add things into my life and then into my health regimen and remove things. So thank you, my friend.
Absolutely. And it makes you feel better about yourself when you're consistently moving forward. When you try to take on the whole shebang at once, that's a setup for failure, but then you feel like you failed, right? You didn't fail, the plan failed. If 97% of a class failed, would you blame the students or would you blame the teacher?
Mhm.
But then we internalize it. We're so hard on ourselves. And then we have this negative connotation with getting healthy because we don't really believe we're going to do it because time has told in the past, I tried it, it didn't work. I tried it, it didn't work. And then we just keep beating ourselves up. And that's not a motivator to take forward positive action.
No,
Floggings will continue until morale improves.
yeah, and number three, that one you shared about taking small steps, it was like mini wins. So of course, from that moment of just doing a couple push-ups on the counter while I waited for coffee, it became, I love my certain shows, that if I'm gonna watch them, I'm gonna do my chair squats, right? And then within 3 months, I was adding weights to my chair squats, where before I couldn't even do 10, I can do 100.
That's
So
awesome.
but it gave me, I wouldn't have done it if it wasn't like for these tips that you share, because it was just do one thing. It makes a difference. But then it excited me because I was committed to it, that I added another thing. And I've added since then, I've added more. So I know how powerful this is. I also know how powerful it is from attending your breakup with sugar and my own personal experience about giving up sugar. I know from being 60 years old how much muscle tone you lose. So this is such a powerful conversation. Sarah is an expert in this field. I circle up with her. I have participated in a program. She writes for Aspire magazine. And then once you are in her community, Sarah, I got to say, because I get to hang with a lot of amazing women, you really deliver content, inspiration, and expert guidance to help them continue this journey. So I just wanted to say thank you, and thank you for being a part of this event.
Thank you so much, Linda. It has been an absolute pleasure. So there you have it. That was such an amazing interview with so much great information. I had to share it with you because I know it's going to help you if you're in midlife, if your body's changing, if your metabolism is slowing down. And there is only so much I can share in a podcast. So if you want even more, I really would love for you to check out my new program. It's called Master Your Midlife Metabolism. And this is a 6-week group coaching program. So we are going to go deep into this issue, figure out the code to unlock your metabolism. I'm going to teach you the what. I'm going to teach you the how, and I'm going to teach you so much more about your body and how to get healthy and how to release weight and how to do it in a sustainable way that's not miserable, that's actually fun. You do not want to miss this one. I promise you, it is an absolutely life-changing program. If you want to read all about it, go to my website, sarahhaaswellness.com. All right. Thank you so much again for being here. And until next time, I will see you then.